Hi everyone. In this video, we'll talk about volatility in the stock market and how one can make money or invest in volatility. And we'll start with a very basic concept. So there is no requirement that you have a prior knowledge of volatility or any kind of mathematical concept. So I'll start with a very basic example to give you a clue. So suppose if you have a kid and the kid is 5-year-old and he is just randomly playing around. So this is your home. So let me draw your home. So this is your home here, and the kid is playing around, right? So the kid can go in any direction. So he is just playing around. So he can go here, 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 here. So it's more he's just walking around. So when you don't have a direction but you're mobile, then whatever the path you take, that is called a random walk. So this is a random walk of your kid, right? So he's moving around. So now you know that, okay, my kid he's just walking, so he's playing, so he's not gonna like be going far away. So you are saying, okay, this is I can predict how far he can go. So if somebody asks you that, would you bet that your kid is more than like half a mile away, you'll say no, that's not possible. So more than half a mile away, right? So you'll say no, right? So you will say I don't think so, right? So the odds are very less. Now suppose if your kid is out there but he is on a cycle. So if the kid is on cycle, he can move farther away, right? So then he can move too far, right? So now so again it's a random direction because he's just cycling. So he's just moving around and going here, there, right? So now if I say what do you think that is your kid more than half a mile away? So you'll say, yeah, that's possible, maybe, but I don't know for sure, but maybe, right? So now if you have $100 and your neighbor wants to play a game with you and say, I'll how much you bet that your kid is not within more than half a mile. So you can say, okay, I can bet $100 here, but if you say, how about this, we'll say, no, I don't think so, I'm only gonna bet $10. I'm not gonna pay you that much. I don't think that he's away. So right, so the likelihood is less, right? So same thing happens in the stock market, right? So if you go in the stock market, so suppose if you're looking at Google, right? So right now at this time Google is around 730. So Google can be up and down, right? So when it's up and down, it can be I saw last day it was 724. It could go to 735. It was also 715 sometimes ago, and it was also 710, or it was also not 740 but 738 around, right? So these are the different numbers Google is going for, right? And this is around 1 week, so I'll call it a 1 week time, right? So it's going all in this direction. So if you look at the chart would look something like this. So this is a so let me call mean as 720, and then it went up, and then it went down, then it went up. So chart will look more like that, right? So in this case, this is maybe 738, and this is 710. So I'll call that this is Google chart, right? So this is the case, right? So this is a 1 week chart, so I'll call it 1 week chart. So if you want to do the same chart for 1 year, So in that case, you will say that, okay, no, let me not go to 1 year. Let's say that now something happened. China's manufacturing data came in, and people are not happy. Like that's what happened in September or August 2015. Everybody got panicked. So when everybody was panicked, at that time Google was moving $40 in a 1 day. So if I try to mimic that condition here, then what will I have? I will have something like that. So 1 day it will go up 50, 1 day up 40, and then it's something like that, right? So now the chances for it going there is more. So now this is 720, and it can go to 750 maybe, and it can also go to 670. So now it's moving up and down more. So this will call as a higher volatility. And this we will call as lower volatility. Right. So this is the case. Now how will you make money from this? So what happens is that, suppose if when I'm talking about lower volatility, so when I'm talking about lower volatility, so like suppose I'm talking about Google at 730. So Google is at 730. Now the volatility is low. So if I ask you what are the chances that Google will go to maybe you can say 500. What are the chances Google will go to 500 in 6 months? You will say not likely, right? So how much will you pay for this? So if I ask for the put option, so the put option is that you promise to buy at 500. So the put will be equal to maybe $2. I'm just making it up. Maybe it's more than that, but I'm just right now making it up. Now what will happen is that when the volatility will be higher, like this, then if you ask what's the likelihood, so everybody will be scared. What's the likelihood that Google will go to 500? We'll say higher. So this is this I'll call low volatility, and this I'll call as higher volatility. So put higher volatility. So that will be equal to something like $10. So how can you make money in this case? So what you can do is, suppose when the volatility is very high, even when the volatility is very high, if you remember August of 2015, the volatility was very high. It went to the VIX index went to 50 plus, and Google was still above 600. It went from 600 or maybe 590 to 640 or so, but it remained in that range. But if you look at the option prices, they increased too much. So what will happen is, when you have a higher volatility, the numbers will go very high, and that time you can sell the puts, and it will take 1 month or maybe 2 months volatility to come back. In most of the scenarios, I'm not like betting on that, but most likely when people are very fearful, eventually the fear will go out, and in that case you will reach from $10 to $2 within the time the volatility will settle down, and that's how one can invest in volatility. So there are some financial instruments which you can buy. For example, SVXY is there, and there are some other symbols like that. But the problem with them is they charge a lot of fees. So this was around $90 in August 2015, and then it went to almost 45 during the small crash, and then it did recover, but it's still at 65 at this stage. So these are there are certain these are more complex instruments, but this is something you can always play around, and you don't have to understand all the complexity which is there with these instruments. It's in no way I'm trying to like say that SUXY is not a useful instrument. I also use it myself personally, but this is one of the another method you can use, and this is also a win-win situation if you are already looking to buy Google. So suppose if you are interested in buying Google at 500, then there is no harm in you taking $10 for it and saying that I'm happy with my $10. If it goes to 500, it's okay. If it won't go to 500, I don't care. And the only problem here is that not many people do this, like buy this options that far from the money. So the volumes are very low, and because the volumes are very low, the spreads are very high. So you might find it difficult to make a purchase or sell or buy very frequently, but and in that comparison, SVXY has good volumes, and you can easily invest in this case. So volumes are high and spreads are low, right? So so this is the concept of Votility, and we will be discussing more in Excel sheet. We'll talk about some of the mathematical prediction one can do to find the probability of stock going up and down, and we'll discuss that in our next video. I'll see you again. Thank you.